fate of the universe on the line. I want Iguodala.
Kevin Durant. You know who I am.
Hurry, way downtown. Bang! Up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Is this the dagger?
Good start, great start. Tough start, rough start. 75 years in the making, from mechanical to art. First week oaths have been cast aside and coaches led astray. But here, regular enough to remind, with our say, it's the hashtag Ball is NBA podcast, your favorite NBA podcast in an Indian accent. If this is your first time listening to us, my name is Ashwin, and I urge you all to subscribe to us on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcasts at. In the association this week, the NBA released a 76-man list for the top 75 players of all time. The Lakers were a couple of free throws away from possibly starting the season 0-3. And Phoenix Sun recently realized that owning an NBA team comes in the way of casual sexism, racism, and privilegism. Speaking of FOPA, I've got with me, as always, someone who never attends meetings in suits, someone who has never had an assistant to delegate work, and someone who has never lost 2 NBA games in a row. My co-host, Vineet, welcome back.
Thank you. It is true. I've never lost 2 NBA games in a row.
Vineet, first episode of the season. I think, first of all, congratulations. Our Apple podcast frequency has changed from bi-monthly to weekly, which is look forward to more weekly episodes. What do you feel? First week of the NBA, it's almost been a week, more or less a week, I think, by the time it comes out. How has your watching schedule been?
Not so much. I mean, I caught a couple of games, but I feel like early season is very
boring.
It's not very useful. I know it's boring, but it's not very useful because, the good teams are still getting into rhythm. The bad teams are playing good. It's always the bad teams start off really well. I don't know why that is.
The bad teams always start off 3-0. I've realized this, I think for the past 3 or 4 seasons, Orlando Magic has always had a 3-0 start to the season, and they beat all the top seeds and all of them.
I think it has to do something to maybe it's like a mental thing. People see a bad team and they don't go as prepared, and then suddenly this bad team has all this josh and they just
and the shots start
come ready to play. But
the Bucks got an idea of it. I mean, not that Miami is a bad team, but losing by 42 points to
that was bad.
To any team is just horrible. And Nets lost to Charlotte yesterday.
Charlotte,
Lakers lost to.
So that was a close game.
That was close, but there's that NBA game where a team is we are just one basket away from making that run, but they never make that run. They never make that. They never get a stop and a basket. They always get a basket and then they exceed the basket. So it was.
That's what happened.
Because Miles Durant was doing whatever, he was hitting some crazy ass shots, and then on the other hand, they had Miles Bridges. They had some. What is that guy's name? C something. C is a nice name. Something. C Parker. No, not C Parker. Something. And those C guys. Boom, 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 boom. Just and then Brooklyn could never get that second bucket in the floor. They could never get 2 stops in the
floor. And Harden seems to be struggling. Huh? He's not as fluid as he used to be.
We were going to talk about.
Do you think it has to do with that? Oh, we were okay.
We were going to. Beneath 75 top NBA players. One simple task.
Oh no.
And then they came up with a 76-man list. It's crazy. I think we will just start off with a small sample of the list in no particular. I think it's in alphabetical order. We'll start with 10, 15 names. 15 names is fine. I think we'll go with 15 names, and then through the show I'll just pepper in 15 names one by one, and then we'll talk about that. Or we'll talk about the snubs after that. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Ray Allen, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Carmelo Anthony, Nate Archibald, Paul Arizin, Charles Barkley, Rick Barry, Elgin Baylor, Dave Bing, Larry Bird, Kobe Bryant, Will Chamberlain, Bob Cousy, and Dave Cowens. First 15 names, just in alphabetical order. One of the good things, I think when we were talking on our Discord, link will be here, Discord link. Please join us on our Discord. Was how I think all of us were sort of happy that the 50 members of the original 50 greatest were retained. None of them were thrown out. I don't know. I felt that was a great move then. And then, as always, I have the thinking period and I'm like, but, you're sort of brought in a new era. I mean, and you're calling this the 75 greatest players of all time, which means that at some point you have said that, we are going to evaluate players of different eras, and I think we are not going to do that. We're just going to say that whoever was 50 was great then. That's it. Those 50 will never be touched. And we have put 25 more, 26 more.
I feel like when you're talking about the best players that have played the game of basketball, you're always comparing it to the era that they played in. Not necessarily if you compare LeBron to Dave Bing, or it's not comparable, right? So I think I'm fine with them retaining the top 50, but I also think so. This is my, I'm going to go on my rant about this, but I don't think they ran this properly, because it is impossible. It is impossible for all 50 to come back. Right. Yeah. Nobody knows Dave Bing. Nobody knows that. Nobody knows these players. Like, even if they had a very high represent. So either they midway, they're like, oh shit, we screwed up. We're just going to put the 50 back again.
But I think, what you're saying, it makes sense, because they let the option free to everyone. And if you're telling me that all the people who voted decided this, then it's a clear sort of like it was feedback given to them that keep the 50 and then do whatever you want with the remaining. And we are gonna take that.
Yeah. So I feel that's what happened, because it is impossible. Giannis Antetokounmpo knows who Dave Bing is or who Wes Sunfeld is. It's impossible for him to know anybody. I think you, and even if you know them, like, most NBA players are not that, because there's NBA and media and coaches, everyone was included in it. So I just felt like for all 50 to come back, it's too much of a coincidence. So it's like, so that's my first thing. I feel like they were untrue from that sense. Secondly, then they added extra 5 more players from that era, from the older
from that era. Exactly. Yes.
So they were left only with 20 spots. So it was a little bit, I felt like 26.
Yeah,
that's also
exactly. I can understand GP not making the list then, because he was still playing there, and I think he had only played for 5-6 years by the time the list had been announced. So it makes sense for that. But they picked someone like Bob McAdoo and Dominic Wilkins. I'm not saying Dominic Wilkins does not deserve to be in the list. Absolutely, he should have been on the original list itself. But if you can go back maybe 2-3 years, 4-5 years, but you're going back to Bob McAdoo, who played in the 80s, and you earlier had decided he would not be in the top 50, and now you're saying, oh no, now he can be in this list. That's just I don't know. It just seems like it seems like they were really told that do not take anybody off the 50.
Yeah. I think that was the clear indication there. Also, I thought it was, a lot of people didn't like the rollout process from what I've understood, but I think I was fine. I really enjoyed it. You couldn't take it. You went to sleep. I was enjoying it, and I don't know if you saw my messages, but basically they were.
I saw it later. Next Twitter.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Should I put it on here? The message? No.
Yeah. Put it on. Put it on there. And so basically, what happened was I was like refreshing Twitter, because there was only one spot left, and like, shit, Russell Westbrook is not on this spot. Like, I was both happy and sad, because I want Russell Westbrook to be there. I would be sad if he was not there, but I would be happy then that I could like pull your leg, and then Shams tweeted out the list before they posted the last person, and in that list, I just looked at the list, and obviously Westbrook has a very big name. So it immediately caught my eye, and I was like, oh shit, Westbrook is there. And then they put out Anthony Davis, and I was like, what?
Isn't there only one spot?
Anthony Davis? Isn't there only one spot left? And I was like, shit, I was confused. And then they put out Russell Westbrook as the last one. I was both happy and sad. I was like, happy, okay, he's a good player. He should be on this list. And sad because then I couldn't screw with you. So
yeah. Thank God. I had faith. That's why I told you the Bucks are gonna get beaten by Heat, and Russ is gonna make the list. I made 2 predictions, both of them came correct, and I was like, why doesn't this work in other facets of life? Vineet, what we'll do is we have 5 sets of 15, right? We'll talk about one snub each time. every 15 list, we'll talk about one snub.
I mean, I don't have snubs as such. I am overall just disappointed with
you talk
So if
about
you-
that
if
one
you look
person, the most the person who you felt was most snubbed. Okay.
I think
Or
Dwight
you-
Howard was. I think Dwight Howard, however you cut it, slice it, break it, he was absolutely a beast for 8 years.
Yeah.
If he'd have retired in 2014, he would have been
Yeah,
easily on the list.
Absolutely right. If he had retired like 3 years ago, he would have been on the list. Nobody would have even
Questioned,
never have been
right?
questioned.
And so that's the thing that I wanted to talk to you about, is that that last 7 or 8 people that they put on the list is a representative of how, like, I don't know if the world is changing, or I went too I was really depressed. I was very, very depressed for like a day or two, because for me basketball is like a very one is it is a team sport. There is it's like you cannot show me a team that was individually great that won a championship. Like, it's almost impossible for you to find a team like that. And generally, like, good teams will beat great players, right? So it's always like that. And the second thing I like about basketball is that everything is very meritocratic, which is all the numbers are on display for everybody. How many rebounds you took, how much, what's your pass percent, like everything is on display for everybody. So if you want to actually have an objective understanding, like for example, if you're trying to say which restaurant is the best, it's very difficult to have a objective look at it, right? Yeah. Or which rapper is the best? Is it Jay-Z? Is it Eminem? Like, these are objective, very difficult to be objective about, right? Okay. Whereas basketball, you can bring objectivity to it, to at least when you're comparing within eras. With around eras, it's very difficult. Like, it's easy for you to compare, like a Carmelo to Russell Westbrook to Kobe. Like, it's very easy because they play in the same era. What they did on court it's like in your face. Like, you don't have to go that far to see it. And despite all of that, right, people have made some atrocious decisions, right? And for me, it's an example of where the emphasis of basketball is going. And this is very philosophical. Like, it's too philosophical. Please.
For me. Bring it on.
It's too philosophical, right? It's because I think that we always have to, if basketball is a team sport and winning is a team sport, you have to reward the people who are extremely important for winning, right? Not just people who have extremely good skill over athletic. Like, I don't think Russell Westbrook is very skilled. He's a athletic player. He's got immense like drive, all of that stuff, but he's not a very skilled player as such, right? And that's the reason why he's not very useful for winning, because he's unable to like curb his athletic abilities, because that's the only way he can be extremely useful to a team, is by going 100 miles an hour for every possession. That's his key strength for winning. So if you look at my list, the list that I sent out on Instagram, like the last 4 or 5 spots are all for like the people that helped teams win championships: Klay Thompson, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, Pau Gasol. Because I felt like you have to reward these players because they are actually individually very good players. Like Klay Thompson could have easily been a 25-point scorer in any other team, right? He's already a 21-point scorer, extremely important. But for him to not be on that list, or not even given above Carmelo or above AD or above Damian Lillard, for me was like not giving due to the people that actually help you win championships.
I mean, see, I completely agree that you have to reward winning, because I think we could make the case that without Klay, that offense would have got stagnated, because everyone just puts pressure on Steph. Like, Klay is that release, that person who Steph can pass the ball to, and he doesn't even need 5 seconds on the shot clock. Like, in 3 seconds, he can do his job, which makes Draymond Green effective, which makes an Andre Iguodala effective, which makes that entire system move, because they know that we have to either find Steph or Klay. The problem with this heliocentric models is always that you know who the helio is, you know the sun. You know that if you clamp down Harden in the Rockets system, you clamp down Durant in the OKC Thunder system, you can't clamp down LeBron. But all these systems where it revolves around one person who has the ball most of the time, it won't go far because there is no release point. There is nothing. You can't trust the ball in the hands of a Barbosa. You can't trust the hands in the ball of a Draymond Green. So I understand that. And even Pau Gasol, like you love to keep saying, he's got the highest win share of any non-finals MVP in a winning championship. Correct. That's the thing.
Yes.
I agree, but I think Pau Gasol for me was, I absolutely could not believe that he did not make it there, because the NBA loves to herald people who, have done good things for the NBA in the league by playing, and then outside the league also. And Pau was a wonderful ambassador of the game. He was a beast all those years when he was in the Lakers. I think they.
No, but the point is, no, Ashwin, this is the point is that it's not the NBA. This is what I'm trying to get at. Is like, it's not the NBA that is choosing it, right? It's the media and the players. Right?
But don't you believe that a lot of people, if they vote, then the errors reduce? Is there something called wisdom of the crowd, right?
No. There is the wisdom of the crowd, but there is also this thing called bias, right? Mm-hmm. So the thing that I was trying to like talk, and the reason that I was depressed is because what has happened is that if you create a pool of people, right? So for example, if you create a pool of people who are
modern people,
who are a certain kind, like, it's not easy to understand how to play in a team if you haven't played in a team that wins.
Yeah.
Like, you won't understand what it takes. Like, you will never like Carmelo will never understand what it takes to be a Manu Ginobili.
Yes.
Like, it takes a lot to sacrifice how good you are for the greater good, which is the winning and winning for such a long time, right? And there are very few of those people that exist in this world who can take that role. There are very few people who understand that this is what is required to win. And those are the kind of people that don't go out, and they are not, going to other media, like other podcasts, and like, kind of, I'm pretty sure Carmelo went and like he campaigned himself for like 4 months to everyone who he knew had a vote on this list. I'm just making this shit up, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean,
yeah, because I think they all know.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, they all know. So I wouldn't be surprised. But Manu Ginobili, I feel bad for him because he was on the promo of the NBA 75, right? Yeah. And he didn't get into the list. And that was even more sadder for me because he was in the promo. They invited him to be a part of the promo. Either the NBA was so sure Manu Ginobili was going to get in. Yeah. They were like, Manu, how is Manu not going to get in?
We both debate on every single thing, but both of us were like, Manu, yes, absolutely locked. We are not going to debate this.
Yeah. And that's what I'm trying to say is that the whole perspective has changed because there are certain kind of people that are in these positions of voting, right? If you only take, like, if you take the Celtics, the winners, or you take the Spurs, or like, how Lakers. Can the most winning franchise for 20 years have only one person in the top 75 list? That is ridiculous. If you have 4 people from the Lakers 80s team, 3 people from the Boston Celtics team, right? 3 people from the Chicago Celtics dynasty, like 3 people from the Lakers dynasty, then why do you have 1 person from the Spurs dynasty? That just makes no sense to me. You have 1 person from the Pistons dynasty. Pistons have 3 championships, but only 1 person on the thing. So, and the Pistons also played similarly to the Spurs. Pistons also my second favorite team of all time. It's just like, for me, it's just.
I think the Pistons.
I mean, why is Joe Dumars not there? I don't get it.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of some sort of very unexplained bias where they decided some teams can have multiple players in this list, but some teams can't. I mean, how can you have Isaiah Thomas without Joe Dumars? Joe Dumars won the Finals MVP in that second time they won.
Yes, and I'll tell you why.
Crazy.
That's what I was trying to do. That's what I was. That's what I'm trying to put the perspective. I'm not getting the right words. Like you create a group of people, right? Now these group of people have learned to play only one way. Like all these Clyde Drexlers, Karl Malones, they just know how to play one way. Like they don't know how to they don't know how to play winning basketball because they were not part of the winning basketball teams. And the people who are in the winning basketball teams are very small compared to the people who have not played winning basketball. They are either writing on the beat or they're writing, they write for New York Times, whatever it is, but they don't know how it is to win basketball championships over a long course of time. Like even the great Kobe Bryant had to like give up his whole, like, I'm the main person of the team and like get his teammates involved to win his 2 championships. Right. We all saw it. Like we saw the drama unfold where he just tried and he couldn't do it. And he said, fuck it. I'm just going to like listen to Phil. I'm going to play exactly how Phil wants and we're going to win championships. Right. And so that was my thing, which is like the reason Damian Lillard is on that list is simply because the style of basketball he plays, right? He's got that, Dame time and, like
clutch, man.
25 clutch move, like, right. And those are the kind of things that attract a certain kind of people. And I think that's the majority of the people in the voting section, because they are not won championships or they haven't won like, a long amount of basketball games. I don't think Dirk or anyone even had a vote on this stuff. So that's my concern. It's just like, it's becoming a popularity contest. And right, for example, like they'll always, when they compare to basketball players, they'll say, Russell Westbrook has, I'm taking Russell Westbrook just for the sake of it. I think he should be in the top 25. Like he has 8 all-star appearances. Like all-star is a popularity vote. It has nothing to do with playing winning basketball. Like it's a pure popularity vote, especially in this new generation. Like before, okay, there was, I think, only coaches and players. Coaches and
no, they had
were
votes. They had votes back then also. They had popular votes back then also.
No, people were but how would you collect all these? There was no internet
they used
before.
They used to send in the votes. The votes were not as much as they are today, because today you can vote on Twitter and everything. But back then also there was a fan vote. The starters were decided by fans voting.
I don't think so, man.
Yes. We will verify this. We will do the thing.
Yes. I think the fan voting started during mid 2000s.
You know what? We'll check it right. Why should we delay this thing?
Okay.
Vineet, we are back after the small technical glitch. And I think you were talking very passionately about what direction it has gone. And I think we got more of it. So to commemorate that, we are going to talk about the next 15 top players. We're going to start with Billy Cunningham, Stephen Curry, Anthony Davis, Dave DeBusschere, Clyde Drexler, Tim Duncan, Kevin Durant, Julius Erving, Patrick Ewing, Walt Frazier, Kevin Garnett, George Gervin, Hal Greer, James Harden, John Havlicek, and Elvin Hayes, the second greatest player in the 70s. And Vineet's
70s.
Vineet's very favorite.
My favorite player.
Man, I think for me, the biggest, not necessarily disappointment, but like I could not understand it. Like they could not find a place for Pau, Manu, or Dwight, or Tony Parker, all those people, but they somehow managed to find a place for Anthony Davis. Like literally, Anthony Davis has. I don't think he's done anything to. I mean, he's always shown great potential, but I didn't really understand the point of putting him. I mean, if they had put Luka, I would have still thought that okay, this is one of those Shaq kind of things, and that would have been better. But for someone who has played since 2011, like he was the number 1 seed in 2000, number 1 draft in 2011, 10 years he's played, and I mean. They could have easily taken off Bill Walton, man. Like in retrospect, I think just that whole romanticism of Bill Walton, one of the original top 50s, we can't take him off. Yeah, it's a little weird. I mean, I was very happy, like you were talking about. I was very happy because Russell Westbrook was there. Otherwise, I would have been raising hell right now. That how could he not bring on?
But how would you have reacted? I mean, how would you have reacted? I mean, like for you, like when we were discussing this, like. For me, Russell Westbrook was like he was a top 25 player, but if you just looked at guards, right?
Yes.
Like even in this case, I think Russell Westbrook was like maybe Russell Westbrook and Damian Lillard were like the last guards to be selected. Like, like you said Steve Nash so never would have made it. You didn't even consider Jason Kidd till I told you about Jason Kidd. So how were you thinking?
That's not true. I had Jason Kidd on my list, but then when I thought that will Jason Kidd take away Russell Westbrook's position, so then I had to fight against it. Then I realized no, Jason Kidd is not fighting against it. Then it became a Chris Paul versus Russell Westbrook thing.
Yeah, so I know that. So yeah, so for you, you're always like, the reason you hate Chris Paul is not because you hate Chris Paul, but you hate Chris Paul because he takes away Russell Westbrook's like all-star votes and all that.
No doubt.
Right, but if you had to be an unbiased person, wouldn't you think CP3 was a lock, like just based on body over?
Absolutely. I mean, just purely based upon.
So that's
his impact on both.
Yeah, so that's my question. That's my question, right? Like that's what I'm trying to get is like, the thing that I like about basketball is that if you're a person who is unbiased, there is enough data for you to like get into it and figure out like an unbiased opinion. Like it's not that difficult, like to do that.
But that's what I mean.
And yet,
if you look at a Tony Parker or a Manu Ginobili, I mean, if they looked at things like all NBA teams, all-star teams, those kind of things, I'm pretty sure the people who got chosen were ahead of Ginobili at least. Like
and ahead of Ginobili,
Pau Gasol had four All NBAs, and 2 were second teams, 2 were third teams, or 2, 3, one of those kind of things. All stars he had made, but I think it must have come down to looking at those numbers. Because the problem is that even this objective number has a bit of subjectivity included in it. Like they might reward a Tim Duncan. They might like the coaches who select the all NBA teams, right? Like the coaches may select Tim Duncan because he's the head of the three-headed monster. They will not give the same sort of like preference to, because the all NBA team automatically is a restrictive club. Like you have to be top 15 in the league, or especially in those cases back then they had it by position. So it's again like quite restrictive. If they chose best 5 players in the NBA, that's fine. That's great. I'm sure people would have made it. But even the description of a best 5 player in the NBA, I'm pretty sure at no point of time Tony Parker or Manu Ginobili or Pau Gasol were ever top 5 players in that time.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
Again, I understand what you're talking about, but you're talking about that there is proof that these players were part of a winning culture. They were definitely one of the main reasons why Tim Duncan did not have to become a 40-point scorer. Like he could do what he had to do, which is at the end of the day what you want, right? Like it's not that any team who scores 100 points first will win the game. That's not how it works. Like you have to play this and that, and you have to make the right decision. You have to be able to sacrifice. You have to be able to let your ego aside. I mean, the most famous words ever uttered, the secret of basketball is that it's not about basketball. It's not about whether you can score a bucket. It's about how do you maximize the team talent and get victories.
Team you have,
right. So
which is why the Detroit Pistons are my favorite team of all. Which is why, because they had, like, if you look at the team, they had nobody. They had no business winning 2 championships. They had no business winning 2 championships.
Yeah. Could have been 3 if Isaiah Thomas had not gotten it.
Yeah, that's my point. Against the Lakers, like that's my point. It's just like we need to reward, and we need, like, that's the thing that I feel like I'm trying to harp on, and hopefully this gets through in the podcast. Is this like, I feel that this is going from like a sport that I love to a popularity contest.
Yeah,
and I was very depressed about that.
all your heroes would have not made it if it was a popularity contest. Like Dirk, Tim Duncan, what? How many 50 points games does he have?
Does he have 20 consecutive 40-point games? No.
Does he have 11 threes shot within the first 5 minutes of the 4th quarter of a game? No. Well, he's not great then.
It's not great. My thing is that with this NBA 75 that they have selected, they have clearly given an indication that we don't give a shit about these people who have sacrificed for winning teams, whereas we will give it to like Carmelo Anthony and Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis and Damian Lillard, who basically just had great numbers, were all stars, great players, but didn't do shit to win championships over Klay Thompson or Manu Ginobili or Pau Gasol. Right, so it's a clear indication. It's like, so anyone who wants to be in the NBA 100 is going to say, "Fuck it, I don't give a shit. Like, it doesn't matter if I win or no. If I'm like in the top 15 scorers of all time, I'll get into the NBA." Like, it's a clear indication of that, and that's what I don't like.
I think in this section you've sort of made it a little more clear as to what the gripe is.
Yeah.
What exactly?
Well, it was all in my head, for 3 days. I couldn't like articulate it out, but now that I've articulated like 4 or 5 times, I think it's come out properly.
I think that's what you have to do. You have to record each podcast 4 or 5 times. Then we'll have the most
the perfect podcast comes out.
Anyway, my thought was, most of the people I thought would make it did make it, and I was very, very sure that the people at least we agreed would make it would definitely make it. Like, especially when Gary Payton made it, I was like, okay, now to Manu Ginobili like he has to be there. Tony Parker, but like Chris Paul definitely would have been there. I thought Chris Webber would definitely have been there. I did not think they would go and bring back Bob McAdoo and put him there. That I did not
Ray Allen and Paul Pierce were 2 people that we kind of decided would not be there.
I said Paul Pierce should be there, and you were like, no, he's not done enough. Well, Paul Pierce also, I think, should have made it, but Ray Allen, I don't know. I think they should have taken.
Yeah, even I felt like
and I think it should have been Reggie Miller.
Yeah.
But I mean, especially over, a Manu or a Paul Gasol, it makes absolutely.
Or even, I mean, let's say Dwight. I mean, I think for me, like
Dwight,
Manu
yes,
and Tony and Pau Gasol, you can say, okay, secondary. Maybe they would have if they had their own teams. And Pau had his own team and he was great. He was also at 2 times. Like this is ridiculous.
No, you're talking about Pau.
No, even Pau Gasol was Memphis. Memphis Pau Gasol was a beast. He was a 22-12 player. Anyway, so Dwight Howard just was a clear indication of media not liking him.
Yeah, that is like one of the horriblest things that they did. Absolutely. Just because I don't know, like Shaq, yeah, so disrespectful. That guy is a 3-time defensive player of the year. The best.
No, he was for 5 years
in the East. Yes, on the best team in the East for a while.
I think he was for 3 or 4 years. Yeah, 3 or 4 years he was also in the top MVP voting. I mean, he had to be there. There was no
beat LeBron's team. That same team which had gone to the final.
And even when he was playing I think even when he played in the Houston Rockets team, he was averaging 27 or 26, 14 or something like that.
He was injured a lot.
It wasn't bad.
I mean, if you can keep
he played properly.
If you can keep a Bill Walton who had probably like 3 good years in his life, you absolutely can't be like, Dwight Howard can't make it. Dwight Howard was an absolute beast on both ends. It's ridiculous. I can't believe the NBA was like, no, all of you are fired. Like, we'll put Dwight Howard in. All of you are fired. Like, all of you are absolutely ridiculous. This is absolute. This is where I think that your entire thing about that the people chosen to make the vote, like give the votes itself, were not qualified enough to do this thing. I mean, Dwight. It's not like Dwight only had individual success. Like, his team kept going deep into the Eastern Conference again, year after year after year. Went to the finals. 4-2 they lost. But they were competitive. They were amazing team, well coached, but had only one legit star. Everyone else was like sort of just making up numbers. Rashad Lewis and Turkoglu. What is that little guy? That Jameer Nelson. Like, you have never heard of those players after they left Orlando.
After that. Maybe the NBA didn't see the results before they like shot the NBA 75 because they had Dikembe Mutombo there. Because I also thought like some older players that I thought was snubbed. Like, I think Dennis Johnson was snubbed. I don't know why Dennis Johnson was not there. Even in the NBA 50 and also NBA 75, because Dennis Johnson not only won championships with he was the point guard for the
Sonics for the Celtics.
MVP.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Celtics. Yeah. So it's like he's the second best player for 1 championship and 3rd best player for 2 championships and the Finals MVP for 1 of those. Like what else do you want from, right? Like, what else do you want? Like, there are certain people like Ray Allen. I mean, I love Ray Allen, but like, come on, man. Like, he hasn't done like his great body of work was when he was with the Boston Celtics, the big three, and then the Miami Heat. But on the Seattle, he was okay. He was like a T-Mac or a Vince Carter. Like I have no problems. Yeah, sorry, with Milwaukee. Like I have no problems with not having Vince Carter or T-Mac because they were good and they ran a team, but they didn't have like that peak success. Right. But guys like Dennis Johnson and Manu Pao, they went to the championship. They won it. They did everything that they had to do. And you should credit that. Like, it's not easy to win championship. Like I don't get it, man. Like either Tim Duncan is the best player ever to play NBA. Because like think about it, right? The Boston Celtics had won 11 championships. They have 5 players out of that. In those teams, 5 or 6 players they have out of that team.
Yeah.
Right. Every other like dynasty, they have at least 4. But this Spurs dynasty, 1 player. So is that how great Tim Duncan was? Like I'm happy to take that. I mean, I had somehow made peace with it by making memes, and now like all that anger is coming back again. But yeah.
Just to cool you down, we're going to talk about the next 15 top players. It's in no particular order, it's in alphabetical order. So whatever their parents named them, that's how this is coming out. Allen Iverson, LeBron James, Magic Johnson, Sam Jones, Michael Jordan, Jason Kidd, Kawhi Leonard, Damian Lillard, Jerry Lucas, Karl Malone, Moses Malone, Pete Maravich, Bob McAdoo, Kevin McHale, and the original George Michael. I don't want to talk about this much, but just like in 1 sentence or 2 sentences, did Kyrie deserve to be in this top 75 list? No. I mean, looking at the kind of people who made it,
no.
I mean, skill players, still no.
No.
I mean,
the worst part is he's going to make it. He's going to make it in the NBA 100, and it's just going to be like.
We'll talk about the current NBA so that we can like put your mind at ease a little.
God, was this dog in the back?
A dog. We have dogs all around the house. Talking about the present day NBA, the Lakers. I saw the first 2 games the Lakers played. Rusty would be a very kind way to say it. It's just that all of them seemed very unsure about what their place in the attack is. Westbrook had no idea how to operate when LeBron is there with him. That was my initial lesson. Like when Westbrook is not running and LeBron is there on the court, it seems like Westbrook cannot do what he uses to do, which is, use his speed, grab the second defender, pass the ball out, because LeBron is there as well. So now he's just passing the ball to LeBron and going and standing somewhere, which is, not a job that he's going to be good at. Another thing that I noticed was a lot of the Lakers offense was just, get the ball and then think about what you're going to do, which was in severe juxtaposition to how the Warriors played, where the players were like, moving. It's almost like a Denver offense where the players are not standing, they are moving and the ball comes to them while they are moving. So while they are moving, they have an idea of, what they're going to do. Like at least the 5-6 baskets in the 4th quarter when the game was close, the Warriors, when they made that final run of theirs, was just the ball being in the center of the paint, all eyes on them, and the ball doesn't stick there. Immediately it passes off. And there's a guy cutting to the basket, gets fouled, gets free throws, makes a basket, easy layup, because they are not doing any sort of thinking. Like their natural instinct is not to be like, get the ball, 1, 2, 3. They are already moving, which is great, because the defense itself is now like, nobody knows, they're playing man. Nobody knows what they're going to do. If 2 people are looking at that side, then that's it. 2 people are drawn towards the ball there, and the ball goes to the person who forgot that their man is not there. Like it's very confusing, especially for a team which is not very set. In my opinion, I think Russell Westbrook should play with the reserves when they come back. He should not take the floor with LeBron James. That is not a good place for them to be at. He has to swallow his pride and be that, for the team to win, I have to elevate a group of players who need elevation. I can't elevate LeBron James. I'm not going to be able to make him play much better, because he's the primary ball handler. He's not doing that much driving to the basket. He's becoming a jump shooter, which means he needs some space, which means I can't be the one restricting the space. I can't have another, I have to have one person stay true to me. I can't have them cheat off of me, which means I have to play with the Wayne Ellingtons. I have to play with the THTs. I have to play with Malik Monks. I have to play with those people and get them free shots. Like, I am pretty unguardable in the open court. The problem is when the defense is completely set. That time, my limitations come out. True. So if I drive in and kick the ball out, then I've got shooters all around. I can really be of help then. But playing on the same time as LeBron James is not going to be the most effective thing for him. Like, those assists are just, it's not what he's best known for. It's not what his advantage is. That's
but do you think he'll make that adjustment?
Now the question I want to ask
especially Carmelo, having Carmelo also there.
So I think Carmelo, that's what I think. So my question to you is, who do you think will initiate the adjustment? Do you think a Westbrook or a Melo? I think is already, even in Portland, he was the sixth man. He was in that second string. So he sort of understands that that's what his career right now is at. Westbrook is a little younger, so he will have a little bit more ego there. So now the question is, do you think LeBron goes to Westbrook and says, this is what you have to do? Do you think the coach goes to Westbrook and says, this is what you have to do? Or what I think will happen is LeBron tells the coach and the coach tells Westbrook that this is what he has to do. Or if there's something else that you think, feel free.
I mean, the problem with Westbrook, is the problem that any these big high ball usage players have, is they don't know what to do when they don't have the ball, right? And they don't run screens, they don't run flares, they don't do anything. Just like Harden.
They don't run without the ball at all. Yeah.
They just don't do anything. They're just spoiled in that sense, which is like, we're just gonna stand and we don't have to do anything after that. And I feel Westbrook, I mean, see, this is where I don't like Westbrook in that sense. It's like he may be very difficult. I don't know.
I know if you had to choose 100 players, you would choose them first before choosing Westbrook, because that doesn't fit in your...
For this role.
Exactly.
For this role, yeah.
And especially at this age, when the athleticism is also not 23-year-old Westbrook or 24-year-old Westbrook. So my question is, do you think there is a solution for this? Do you think, because another solution is the Lakers just trade Westbrook by the trade deadline in December. They're like, okay, bye-bye. It didn't work out. No hard feelings, move on. So do you think there is any way for them to salvage this situation? Is there any sort of adjustment that they can make? Like I said,
I think
the second string.
I think that it's a little too early to judge. I mean, it's just game 3. I think that maybe around game 15, game 20, you'll have more clarity on what everyone is able to do or not able to do. And getting rid of Westbrook now would be not easy. It's a big contract and it's in the middle of the season.
I think
it will be probably easy.
What do you think about a Ben Simmons for Russell Westbrook trade? Increases their defense.
That could work.
Can't do anything while shooting, but the pace is still there, and defensively they get really stronger.
Yeah,
I think it would be a great trade for both teams, because they already have I think Philadelphia already has a point guard who is quick and can't shoot that well. So for them, but who is not ready to play. But so they get a Russell Westbrook, ferocious, is ready to play, and Joel Embiid, like that pick and roll combo. Plus they've also got shooters all around the place. I think it's a great.
Well, because I mean, if you're right, I mean, if Clutch has all their clients in the biggest market, LeBron, Ben Simmons, and Anthony Davis, then imagine the amount of money they can make with just like LA and movies and sponsorships and everything.
Absolutely.
It makes much more. They'll make much. Yeah.
They'll own the biggest.
And maybe this is. You know what? Now that you've got me thinking, maybe this is a way for LeBron to buy a piece of the Lakers. get all the top players into him and then just basically go to Jeannie Bus and say, listen. Because I don't think Jeannie Bus has a kid, right? I mean, she's married. She dated Phil Jackson, but I don't think she has kids. So it's like
I think they are married. I think I'm not sure though.
I don't think they're married.
We will check it out. But
I don't think
go for it.
I don't
Go with
think they
your
have kids
assumptions.
at least.
Yeah.
So so maybe this is like you have no one to like give it to, but what about me?
I'm not even thinking of that. I'm thinking of from the like LeBron.
No, but I
has
mean,
enough money
why
for
not go
generations.
long con to long con?
No, but I'm saying that okay, but I'm saying the train goes through the championship route and not train is not like I'm going for the money. You get the championship. Imagine if these clutch, like you said, three of Clutch's top players all in the same city winning championships. It'll be like crazy. You will never be able to pay them enough money. There will be that much money flowing in that area. So that's what I feel. I mean, this is a good conspiracy theory. I think I have a very bad feeling that it'll come true, and I'll be really sad because I mean Westbrook is going to be traded like for the third time in 3 years. But such is life. We will move on to the fourth set of the 15 top players of the 75 list. We have Reggie Miller, Earl the Pearl Monroe, Steve Nash, Dirk Nowitzki, Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaquille O'Neal, Robert Parrish, Chris Paul, Gary Payton, Bob Pettit, Paul Pierce, Scottie Pippen, Willis Reed, Oscar Robertson, and David Robinson. What a great list. This must be what it feels like to get into IAM-A or something. This is 99.99 percentile, like the top, that sort of feeling. Can you put that in perspective, what these people must be feeling like, or especially in today's world where getting these awards is a big deal?
I mean, we saw how it felt like, right? Dwight Howard and AD were almost like going to punch each other while playing the game, because I feel like I'm sure AD knows how important and how big Dwight Howard was back in his time, but Dwight feels he's in a team that has 4 people in the NBA 75 and he's not there. It's like I think they were talking to Dominic Wilkins when he got into it, and even though he got into it, he was like, you know what, like I should have been there 26 years back. Like he still carries that weight, and I think they should. I mean, I think the Spurs should send a letter to the NBA and be like, what the fuck? Yeah, it's good to be in that, but for the people that got slighted, I feel it's a burden that they will carry for a long period of time.
Yeah, I mean, see, anytime you put a limit somewhere, there will be people who are just beyond the limit. Anytime,
yes, just beyond the limit, yeah.
So 75, you put 75, and even though you pick 76, there will always be people who know, like a Klay Thompson, who will feel that he was part of the best team of the 2010s, didn't get a nod, unfair, probably because he's not played for the last 2 years, so that people have sort of forgotten. But then someone like Ray Allen gets in, who was never a great player, like a great 3-point shooter, absolutely, but never a great player. It should have been either Ray Allen or Reggie Miller, and it should never have been not Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller has got much more impact.
Yes, and he took his teams to like the finals and twice, and like he battled Michael Jordan, like not like in small games, like big games, like almost defeated him. Like I think that matters,
absolutely.
Going against Michael Jordan twice,
and he started off the whole, like using the 3-point as a genuine weapon, and not just only when you're really free do you attempt the 3-pointer. He started doing that thing. From there, it has gone to where it has gone now. Now that analytics came in, and people just shoot 3 for no reason. Like people who should not be shooting it, they just shoot.
Like he was a 3-point shooter, shooting guard. Like he wasn't Ray Allen became a 3-point shooter as a specialist, but he was like a 3-point shooter shooting guard. Like that was a part of his arsenal.
You're always going to have some people who will feel left out, but at the end of the day, you have to make sure those people, there is still an excuse for those people, but nobody who really deserved to be there should have been left off. I guess you're right. Like you can let go of a lot of guilty men, but don't jail an innocent man.
This is the quote of the day.
Anyway, we will stop with this last discussion before that we'll talk about the last 15 on the 75 list, Vineet. We will start with
Yes.
the Worm, Dennis Rodman, the GOAT, Bill Russell, Dolph Chase, Bill Sharman, John Stockton, Isaiah Thomas, Nate Thurmond, Wes Unseld, Dwayne Wade, Bill Walton, Jerry West, Russell Westbrook, Lenny Wilkins, Dominic Wilkins, and James Worthy. With that, that is the 75 list. And, you know, I think it's safe to say that, you know, congratulations to all the 75 players. They have made the NBA what it is today, a reason for us to be relevant, but more importantly, for a game like basketball to grow to all corners of this world. I mean, it's always fun to, you know, watch pioneers of any field, like anything, right? Like whatever it is, even if it is something as mundane as online teaching or whatever if you've seen how it grows, though I've not seen, but you read a lot. I'm a student of the game, so you read about all these things that they did back in 1946. There's also this controversy about this not being the 75th year of the NBA, because the NBA by terminology
started
like 1949. Yeah,
but they added like, I think ABA, not ABA, I think
it's the
NBL
BAA,
or NBL or
the BAA and the NBL combined together and became the NBA. But that happened, so
all right,
whatever nomenclature thing is there, but still, it's 75 years is not a short time for anything, and the growth that has happened, it becoming the favorite league game in the world, probably second to, I mean, obviously second to soccer, but affecting so many lives and being such a fun game to play and watch.
Fun game. I don't think there's any game that is as much fun as basketball.
As much fun. All right, Vineet, we'll stop with this last thing that we're talking about. I think you were alluding to it a little bit before, that Harden's productivity has gone down. His production has gone down. He's not, and I think you were talking about him not getting that many calls anymore. I don't know if that's what you were talking about or if you forgot.
Yes, that's what I was going to.
And I saw that game also against Charlotte. He did a lot of those moves which usually get him that he bumps the defender and then he gets the call. It's not even like him doing the, you know, lift up his hand and tangle the other person. So not even that. Like a normal Harden drive also is not getting the call anymore. So in my head, I think even the commentators are talking about it, that now he's not getting the valid calls because it's James Harden. So the rule is not even like stop offensive, interference. It's stop people like James Harden from getting those calls. It's sort of been interpreted in a different way. I mean, maybe we should talk to our good friend Ronnie Nunn about this particular.
Ronnie Nunn. We should get Ronnie Nunn and ask him about how he felt about the NBA 75. But what are your first impressions? What have been your first impressions? Give me some first impressions of certain teams Bucks, that you.
Bucks playing really well. As in Giannis not taking it off because he won last time. He played that first game with that same intensity, and as long as Giannis has that intensity, I think the Bucks will do very well, because they look to him as their leader. And anytime there is like one of those kind of leaders, he has to, punch first and punch hard. So using those kind of analogies, but as in, he did not take it easy in that Nets game at all. At no time did he. Whenever he was on the court, he was playing as hard as he could, and that gives all the confidence to a Grayson Allen, a Pat Connaughton. They are out. I think Brook Lopez played that game, and he was also amazing. All those players feed off of his energy. So I thought he set the tone very well in that first game. I think Heat will be a trouble, even for someone like the Bucks, because I think they've got the personnel to do it. It's just a matter of whether on that day, does a Tyler Hero make those shots? Tyler Hero make those shots, or does he not make the shots? Because when he makes those shots, he gets confidence and he takes more shots. He's able to do his thing. Jimmy Butler is like the amazing, that
consistent.
Yes, exactly, and on fire sort of person. I think Charlotte is a little bit better than what we thought. And I feel so. I've not been able to watch a single Bulls game, and I really want to watch one of those games. So I will be watching one of those games very soon. I think they played very well. Everything has been clicking for them, but what will matter is whether they can, take it forward. And I really hope to God that they can, because it'll be fun because Zach Levine is very good. Lonzo Ball is very good, and all those boys are pretty, decent.
Caruso.
That'll be fun. I
Caruso.
think their first meeting with any of the big, teams, whether it's a Lakers or a Nets or a Bucks, I think that'll be a fun game to watch. And I think I saw one of those 76ers game. I think your prediction of 76ers not being in the top 3, I think that'll come true. And also your prediction of the Raptors not making any dent this year.
And I think also my prediction about Cleveland Cavaliers being good is going to come true. I am loving Mobley. I watched a Cleveland Cavaliers game and it was good.
They're playing the Nuggets tomorrow, I think. Yeah, at Nuggets at Denver.
I don't know if I don't know if they'll defeat.
Not that good.
Not that good, but I told you that they might make a run for the play-in or the playoffs. The guy that I was thinking, and now that I remember him, is Evan Mobley. He's the new draft guy. He's like 7'1" or 2" and like massive wingspan, can run the floor. So I think they have like 4 or 5 really good players, and if they all kind of decide to click, I think they are a problem.
Anyway, on that note, we will end this episode now. Guys, please like, share, subscribe, do all that jazz. And follow us on all wherever you can. And till then, Vineet, say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.